Boy, Jacob, have you ever had a run-in with the law the way that we did today?
I don't think so, but I have had run-ins with the law, so to speak. But
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Just not in the same vein as.
definitely not.
Okay, so you've never been skating the streets of Cincinnati, Ohio.
I mean, technically I have, but we weren't on the streets.
Yeah, we were in the public skate park here.
Yeah, wasn't even filled with sand.
It wasn't. There was no sand to be seen. There was a fence that was like very broken and mangled from people breaking it.
Yeah, it wasn't really a fence. It was like a plastic. I guess it is supposed to be like fencing, but yeah, it's like a hazard. Orange like hazard safety fencing.
Yeah, and because of this COVID-19 crisis, they put up this fence around the skate park, but this family of a mother, a father, and 2 children broke that down. They ran directly into it. They're like, you can't keep our children out of this wonderful establishment. Bring down these walls!
It would have been funny if you said that to the officer, like describe it. Well, there was this family of a mother and a father with 2 children. A nuclear family, if you will.
Yes.
Sorry, officer. You'll have to excuse me for being long-winded. I have a little bit of autism.
And they were the ones that broke into that skate park. I tell you, it was an amazing sight to see. Little Jimmy was climbing up the walls, and they just started to topple over as big man Ralph there shook the bottom of the fence posts.
Big man Ralph.
And then their mother, Susan, just ran in immediately. Body slammed that wall until it fell over. And
I thought
then
his name was Jimmy.
No. That was the child. I'm talking about Susan, the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Susan knocked down the
Where'd
wall.
Bobby come from?
There's 2 kids.
Oh, I
Bobby.
thought I was imagining one was a girl and one was a boy.
Oh, no. There's only one girl that was there. There was 3 boys. Anyway. Sweet. They broke in. And I saw them there already skateboarding, and I was like, "Oh, I'll join this family and skateboard with them." and then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna text my good friend Jacob and see if he wants to come over here and skateboard with this family with me." And then he did show up, all right. And then the family just leaves, like we were in their way, but they just leave and get out of there, leave the scene of the crime, so to say, red fucking handed, and then Jacob and I are there having a great old time, skating a bowl.
Skating a bowl.
Yeah.
I skated a little bit in the bowl. I didn't do
bit.
much. Ryan actually skated it.
Yeah.
I don't even have a skateboard right now because I broke mine.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, that is true. And you're going to get one soon, though. You just need that grip tape.
Yeah, I'm waiting on the GT from the Big A.
It's not an essential thing, so they're not shipping it fast because of this COVID-19. They're keeping our grip tape. They're putting walls up around our parks.
Yeah, there was one skate park that we went to last weekend where there was no like signs or fence or anything. So it seemed like it was perfectly fine for us to be there.
And then there was another one the same day that we went to where they filled the entire thing with giant logs that they had cut down from the trees around them.
Yeah, that was surprising.
Yeah, like who fills a skate park with logs?
And one of them was like 5 feet across. It was huge.
Yeah, it was gigantic. They definitely needed professional construction equipment.
I probably just pushed it all in there with a backhoe.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I would consider a backhoe a professional construction equipment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they pushed it in there, and there's, like, dirt all over the nice, smooth
Yeah, it's like dirt and
cement.
tree bark. That's really, you couldn't even skate because you'd immediately, like, get wheel drag or whatever that's called when you, like,
hit
fly
a pebble.
Yeah, when you, like, fly off your board.
Yeah. And then, okay, so they did a pretty successful job there, but this little fence was broken down by a small family, so
I don't know if they were the one that
probably not. This is just what I would imagine. I'm just embellishing on the story to make it interesting for the listeners, so to say. It was a very nice family, and they were doing great. It was a nice activity to do outside with your children. So anyway, we're standing there, and then another person shows up, but we're standing there for like maybe a half an hour. police comes walking right alongside the bowl that we were skating in.
It was funny because you, she and I noticed immediately. Well, she noticed first, and she's like, "Oh shit!" And then I saw the cop car rolling up, and
I didn't notice until he was already there.
No, he was like in the bowl. The guy was like standing behind, or the officer was standing behind Ryan, like while he was still talking, just completely oblivious. Which is par for the course, you know.
Yeah. But in talking fashion, we talked to the police, and he was being a really nice guy. He was like,
Yeah. He was cool about it.
Yeah, he was like, I personally put this bowl here for you to skateboard in. And I want you to be able to use it. I really do. But this COVID-19 crisis has got everything all up in a whack. And he was like, I'd love to let you skateboard here, but I can't do it. And it's $140 fine.
Yeah, he said that if we hadn't gotten any previous warnings, he would let us off with a warning.
Yeah, in case we were lying to him about not knowing about that skate park being closed. But we couldn't have known because of the family that broke down the walls. So it was a perfectly legitimate excuse. And he was like, you see this fence here? Why do you think this is here? And we were like, it's broken. He was like, I saw people in here earlier.
Yeah, he was like, why would you do that? And that made me see that he was going to be not a dick about it.
Yeah,
he's like, why would you do that? And it was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're sorry. Yeah. And then he was very nice, and he checked our licenses and sent us on our way. He's like, all right, well, I think it's going to be opening back up on the 29th, and check our Facebook page for updates. And we were like, this dude's advertising his social media to us in real life. He's like, I want you to follow me and understand what I'm doing for this city, like putting skateboard bowls in the park and also protecting these fine people from this coronavirus. So, yeah.
He didn't sound like that at all.
He sounded exactly like that. But, very tall Filipino man.
No, Jesus.
Gigantic Italian mustache. You can't miss him.
Oh, man. Welcome to People Also Search For.
Yeah, this podcast where we answer life's greatest questions. And, the big question is, why would you put logs in a skate park?
Yeah.
No way.
I mean, people were still trying to skate, though, and which was kind of funny, but pretty much everyone just gave up. And
I even brought out a broom and sweeped the place up.
Yeah, the tiniest broom in the world. It's like almost as small as one of those tiny little lobby brooms you see at like a fast food restaurant.
Yeah, and I was trying to sweep over these possibly 400-pound logs with it. Just this tiny broom, just whacking it, trying to get it out of there.
Whacking the wood.
Yeah, I was whacking the wood with my broomstick. And yeah, so it was nice. We got enough room to skate on that one, but it's it wasn't fun because of all the pebbles and stuff around. Like you would immediately fall constantly and get stopped. It was bad, but it's not as bad as filling it with sand. But logs themselves are pretty interesting because it's like what do they do in wood production? Like how do they make perfectly flat boards? How do they make a 4x8? How do they make a 4x8 piece of plywood and get all those lines and crevices in the tree?
I have a feeling.
The tree perfect.
I have a feeling. There's probably an episode of one of my all-time favorite shows, How It's Made.
Cheers to that. How It's Made? Oh, there probably is a How It's Made on the wood industry and plywood.
I love that show. Like, I can't tell you how many Sundays I wasted most of the day by just being hungover, getting high all day, and watching How It's Made for 4 hours. It's just good.
That sounds like a good time.
It's just good and relaxing. It's like one of those oddly satisfying type of shows where you get to see how things are mass manufactured, and you just see robots shooting out candies or whatever they're making, and you're just smooth, beautiful efficiency.
Yeah, and it always looks super smooth. It's you'd think that stuff would be incredibly dangerous to work on, but it's just it does it automatically, and it's amazing to look at it. Machinery, the industry, what we have built as people.
Yeah, at my job, I get to see little like robots going around, which is cool.
Yeah, we've invented robots.
I mean, they're not
like Rosie from the Jetsons.
I don't see any like humanoid robots, but they're robots nonetheless.
Do you remember when we were staying in Los Angeles and there was a robot butler at the hotel we were at?
Oh yeah.
Did that thing get in the elevator with you? It got in the elevator with me, and there were no other people around, and I was just like, "This is a weird."
And the robot was like, "How's the weather today?
How's the weather? Oh, are you?" And it's like, "Would you like a coffee, sir?" And then it just like serves you a coffee, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Like it comes out of its chest plate, it opens up, and a little robotic arm hands you a coffee cup, and it's like, "Have an excellent day, sir." And then it walks out of the elevator, and you're just like, did I just interact with a machine?
Did it really?
A sentient machine?
Did it really have like a chest plate where your things came out?
Like R2-D2 where it opens up and he's got the little arm that comes out? No, it didn't. It didn't actually have that. I think it was more like, it was basically like, I feel like it's like a moving basket where like they could put stuff in and like it could bring it to your room for you and then it opens and you get the food out.
It was just like a 3.5 foot like cylindrical.
It was a 3.5 foot Roomba.
Yeah, tall, 3.5 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, not wide. We're talking length.
It's probably like here. 10 inches wide or like 10 inches diameter.
Probably. And it's just like it's incredibly weird experience to be alone, walk into an elevator, and there's a robot there that's just standing like literally perfectly center in the elevator, like it knows where center is, so it knows where it's the most safe, and there it's not gonna run into a wall or something. So I get in there and I press the button, and I'm just like, I'm literally riding in an elevator with a robot. And it hits the buttons. It goes to certain floors because it got off on a different floor than I did.
Yeah.
Like, it stopped and it was just like, have a good day, sir. And just like walked right out of the fucking elevator. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? It sprouted legs. It walked out. It's like grew a bow tie and flowers ejected from its hand. And then it went into like a room and it knocked on the door. And it's like, are you ready for your date tonight, madam? And it's like, dude, they offer like a dating service now in this fucking places. It's insane. Freaking got laid that night. It's a sex machine too.
Yeah,
it does everything.
It's a rolling suck job machine.
Yeah, it's just like getting the people, like it hits on you just so you feel better about yourself, even though it knows human robot relations are illegal. All of those things were made of wood, and I need to get back. We need to get back to our.
So you just want to know about like lumber manufacturing?
Yeah, I want to know how I'm gonna be specific here. How does a 4x8 piece of plywood get made? I was gonna say manufactured, but no, not by 4x4. That's not what I want. 4x8. We're talking a full sheet. Oh, plywood at HomeDepot.com. No. I don't want to know how much it costs Home Depot. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking plywood, how products are made on madehow.com, Jacob.
Made how. Yep. How products are made.
Made how products are made. Geez, this is a long thing. I want a simple explanation.
Well, it seems like you got different categories here.
I'm curious. This is what I want the manufacturing process.
Yeah, it starts out with the felling the trees, obviously. So
yeah, we'll go in reverse on this podcast. Let's look at what the most the wood, what happens to it as like the closest to before we get it at the Home Depot.
Yeah, I thought that's what you wanted to know.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying we'll go back in time because like we'll look at this first, but then we got to look at how we get the logs afterward. But this is the closest to us in the step-by-step procedure of the lumber industry.
It really is.
Yep, felling the trees. Oh, I guess they're going a little back anyway. That's when you knock down the tree with like a gasoline-powered chainsaw or with large hydraulic shears mounted on the front of wheeled vehicles called fellers. Yeah, we're gonna bring the fellers over here, fell some trees. I mean, you would be a feller if you're felling trees.
Get the fellers out.
Yeah,
I think it would.
The limbs are removed from the fallen tree with chainsaws. A man's equipment. Not that ladies can't use a chainsaw too. It's just
I'm sure there's
big burly female lumberjacks out there from Sweden. Got cute little outfits. Anyway, the trimmed tree trunks the trimmed tree trunks or logs are dragged to a loading area in wheeled vehicles called skidders. The logs are cut to length and are loaded on trucks for the trip to the plywood mill, where they are stacked in long piles known as log decks.
Then you got preparing the logs. Prepare the logs.
Prepare the logs for launch. We're getting into space today, boys.
So we got number 3. As long as logs are needed, they are picked up from the log decks, that is, by rubber-tired loaders and placed on a chain conveyor that brings the debarking machine. The machine removes the bark either with sharp tooth grinding wheels or with jets of high-pressure water while the log is slowly rotated about its long axis. Number 4, the debarked logs are carried into the mill on a chain conveyor where a huge circular saw cuts them in sections about 8 feet by 8 foot 4 inches or 2.5 meters to 8 foot 6 inches long, suitable for making standard 8 foot long sheets. These log sections are known as peeler blocks.
Cool. With all this debarking talk, I'm just thinking, like, during these hard times, if you're stuck at home and, you know, old Eagle Eye there on the floor is barking up a storm.
Eagle Eye?
Yeah, your dog. Yeah, I mean, I could have gone with Spot, but I wanted to do something a little more unique. Spot Eagle Eye there on the floor.
That is pretty unique. I don't think anyone would name their dog Eagle Eye.
Yeah, they would. Oh, come on. You don't think like a hunter would like be traveling the forest hunting for deer with his old pup Eagle Eye?
Well, yeah, why would you name it a different animal? That's like, that's my dog Kitty.
That's
why.
It's not Eagle, it's Eagle Eye.
There's my dog, old Rabbit.
It means that your dog has fantastic vision. But yeah, I was just thinking, like, how
would you know if a dog had great vision? They can't tell you.
Because he can see really well.
How would you can,
because
no
they can friggin' jump through like hoops and stuff. You think you can jump through hoops with crappy vision? It's like you gotta know what a hoop is. I mean, they basically have double vision because their smelling sense is so strong that like they can smell where the walls are. It's like they can smell if they're carving down a fucking sweet bowl, like you know, if your dog is carving down a bowl, there's that skateboarding dog.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. If your dog is carving down a bowl and he's barking up a storm, you might want to debark him. You might want to bring him to the doctor and get him debarked.
No, that's mean. You don't do that. That's animal abuse.
Yeah, you're probably right. But these people are doing it to these poor trees. So, I mean, come on.
That's like if
these trees are screaming. These trees are barking up a storm.
That'd be like if you declawed a cat, which a lot of people have done, but it hurts them and it makes their balance fucked up. So
yeah, I don't like that. I mean, it is annoying when your cat jumps on your lap and she claws into your leg to like get her balance. It's kind of annoying.
Well, I think
it happens.
I think most people think that them scratching everything else is the most annoying thing.
Maybe my cat doesn't really scratch stuff. Like sometimes she'll like run her claws like on the ground a little bit, like, but she doesn't ever like scratch anything.
She never did when she was younger either.
Oh, she did when she was younger, but she's like old as hell now.
I know.
21 years of age.
Jeez, that's so crazy.
Yeah, she's an old kitty cat.
Ziggy doesn't really scratch on stuff, but I have like a little scratching thing that like specifically for him to claw at.
Oh yeah. I had those when she was a child.
A child?
Yeah. She was never a kitten. She was just a child, and then she got some anime spell got cast on her. She got turned into a cat.
Did you say anime?
I said anime.
Ryan's Weed Corner. Hawaii.
Is there anything you'd like to admit to the listeners to follow up from last week?
Oh my god. Okay, so last week on People Also Search For.
Last week on People Also Search For.
Last week I was like, is this podcast gonna be like the thing that finally gets me to watch Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Yeah, because we talked about Neon the element.
Yeah, and I had to be that weeb that brought up Neon Genesis Evangelion, even though I'd never even seen it. And you know what I did over this last week? Now, I didn't have enough time to watch all of it. This is 26 episodes we're talking about, but I watched 20. So I've got a pretty good idea about what's happening in this show. Now, I've heard the ending is bad, and a lot of people don't like it. But in my opinion, the entire thing is bad. And
okay. See, I didn't know. I haven't heard your take on it yet.
It's not bad in the like sense of, let me put it to you this way. Like I can see like where it influenced a lot of things like in tropes that happen today. And it's definitely got like a cool story, and like I like the designs and the mechs and stuff, but it's just so slow and so boring. And it's just like it's just not fun to watch. And
it's funny because when you said that you heard the ending was bad, I was thinking, oh, that's funny because the beginning's fucking bad too.
Yeah.
I've only watched the first 3 episodes, and I was basically, what are people calling it these days? Double screening, like when you have like you're on your phone and you have something on TV as well.
Oh, I don't do that.
I know you don't because you sit in front of your desktop computer all day when you're here.
Excuse me, Jacob. You
have
like control panel.
Yeah, the control panel. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily the control panel, and we're not making people also search for
That's
content.
true.
But, you know, you have a perfectly good couch and a giant TV, and they just sit there collecting dust.
Not when I'm watching Neon Genesis Evangelion, though, because I watch that on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because anytime it's any Netflix or, like, VRV, like Verve, that's Crunchyroll or whatever, any of that stuff I do watch on the couch.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's comfy.
Yeah, it's the only time that my butt isn't screaming from these horribly uncomfortable. I don't even want to give them a cool people also search for a name, because we're gonna need to replace these dang seats at some point.
Yeah, we've been doing the podcast now for 41 fucking weeks, and I've been using a shitty folding chair from like a poker table, like cheap set from Walmart.
Yeah,
it's so like. An hour of sitting on it is about all I can handle before I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta get out of the seat.
An hour of watching Neon Genesis Evangelion is like all I can do before falling asleep. Like legitimate. I've been watching it every night for like the entire week, and which is torture in itself in a way. But
yeah,
literally, I fell asleep on my couch 2 of the 3 days during the week, and I woke up like at like 7 o'clock in the morning needing to go to work, and I was like felt terrible because I slept like at a weird angle on the couch, and like the cat's sleeping on me, and I'm like oh god damn. Nice. Like I was like I gotta get up, and then I got up and like get in my actual bed, and I'm like oh it's so comfortable.
Yeah, then you really don't want to go to work.
Yeah, and then I fall asleep again, and I go late to work.
That happens.
It's unprofessional. But no, that's like was my viewing experience. It was like, this is kind of like okay, but it makes me fall asleep, which I don't think is a good sign unless I'm trying to fall asleep, in which case it's a great show.
Yeah.
I will give it though. I like the way the suits, like the Evas look. Those are really cool looking.
Yeah, I think I only saw the one original one, like where he first learned how to use it.
Yeah.
But holy fuck, it's like the premise immediately like made me mad, because he's just like this weird, like kind of shrimpy like teenager with like a too big of a shirt, and then like basically like his dad just says like, yeah, you got to do this. You have to like...
Yeah, his dad who previously abandoned him.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm your dad, and you're going to have to save the world or whatever and learn how to drive this giant fucking robot. And then not only that, then he has to go live with some dumb alcoholic fucking bimbo at her house.
Yeah, and she's like
shitty microwave.
Bimbo's a strong word, Jacob.
Well, that's what they made her seem like.
Yeah, but
like she does not seem like an empathetic character whatsoever. Well, he doesn't either, because he's just moping the whole time.
Well, they all have very, very specific like trope personalities. Like their personalities are not very deep.
Is Shinji's personality trope sad sack?
Yeah. No, it's like it's to relate to kids who have to do things that they don't want to, that
get
are
forced
told,
into being on the basketball team, or whatever
forced into learning how to play like the trombone, does anyone choose the trombone? Probably. I'm not gonna make fun of the trombone, but I feel like a lot of kids who they get an instrument and they're like, you have to play the euphonium, and you're like, what?
Euphonium?
I want to play the
guitar,
even a euphonium?
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh, I never heard of it.
I know, and since we're in Ryan's Weeb Corner right now, I mean, the reason I know the word euphonium is there's this anime that had euphonium in the title.
Of course there is.
And it was about a high school band. I really hope euphonium's a real instrument and I didn't just make that up from an anime. Because if I did, that's maximum weeb. I'm making up improv over
assuming that an instrument is real because you saw it portrayed on an anime.
Yeah. I don't like that the first thing that comes up is euphonium fingering chart.
Why? Oh, it looks like a French horn.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad that it's a real instrument and it wasn't for that show. I didn't think it was, but you never know. I think it was Ubiki euphonium. I don't remember what it's called. I would have to.
What do you call a euphonium player under People Also Ask?
Oh, okay, well, we're going to find out. What do you call a euphonium player? It's a member of the brass family and the titular instrument of hibike. Oh, a person. Oh, go for it. Go for it. Read that.
Person who plays the euphonium is sometimes called a euphoniumist.
Oh.
What?
Euphophonist.
Euphophonist or euphonist.
Euphonist sounds good. Man, that would be cool to put on your business card, professional euphonist. And it's nobody would know what that is.
Yeah. Wait, what the fuck is a euphonist?
Except you find
wouldn't you like to know?
You run into that one composer at the bar and he looks at your business card and he's like, because that's what people do at bars, they exchange business cards.
Yeah.
And
a euphonist, I see. How long have you been euphoning?
Well, I run the Manchester Orchestra, and I've needed a new euphonist. And orchestras definitely use brass instruments, and I know a lot about music. And he's just some sleazy guy that's actually trying to get you to go home with him, and he's not even part of the Manchester Orchestra. He just heard about it online.
I'm sure there's people out there that do stuff like that.
Yeah. People also search for the podcast where we talk about lumber, and then it brings us to euphonium.
After talking about anime, of course.
Yeah. But, I'd say it's not for everyone, and it could be for some. And I realize why it's popular. I can see why it's popular. It's really cool. But it's old. It's old.
Just doesn't hold up well.
It holds up better than some things in my mind, and it's not something I am hating watching, but it's not something I would choose. So
yeah, I definitely was on my phone a lot when I was playing it on Netflix.
I mean, I was just these kids are beating up these gigantic robots, and I was this is the dream of most I think they're all 14-year-olds. They're sitting in their house man, it would be really cool to pilot a giant mecha. I wish that would happen to me. But Shinji, the main character of Neon Genesis Evangelion, is just oh, dang it. Now I have to force conversation with my father who hates me and I hate him.
It just starts with so much negativity that it doesn't make me want to be invested in the show.
And it doesn't get much better. You think that the dad and Shinji, Akari or whatever, the dad's relationship with Shinji is going to get better, and maybe it does, but it's he's being a douchebag to his kid the entire time, and then sometimes he'll be good job, Shinji, and fucking Shinji creams himself. And he's oh my god, me and my father have a relationship now because he's proud of me because I'm piloting this giant mechanism that he's created in a way that I don't know, that for some reason only I can pilot, and also he's making me fight things and putting my life at risk constantly. Sounds great. The man left the world's he left the world in the hands of a 14-year-old. He's got to be a little crazy. It's like this school of 14-year-old children is the only thing that can stop us from living and the universe being destroyed. And it's like, you couldn't have developed something that maybe like an entire like U.S. or Japanese military could use, like come on, Shinji's dad. Come on, Shinji's dad. And that's the end of that review.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Well,
I'm just going to spoil the whole thing if we keep going.
Speaking of people being crazy, you know who else is crazy?
Who?
Freaking lumberjacks,
Dude,
man.
lumberjacks are crazy.
Remember we did the
Make
one...
great pancakes.
We did one podcast a couple weeks back about the most dangerous jobs, and we definitely touched on lumberjacks a little bit.
That's true, but we never looked into, like, specifically lumberjacks.
Never looked into jacking that lumber.
Yeah. Ooh. People also ask, and this is actually a legitimate question, do lumberjacks still exist? You see them on calendars. You see them in history books. But, yeah, like those sexy calendars where it's like a male stripper dressed as a lumberjack that you're like, that like a 40-year-old housewife would have.
Yeah. It's funny because the question under that is, what do you call a female lumberjack? Would it be a lumberjill?
I guess. It's a jackhouse and chill house.
Click on it and see.
Wait. Where is that?
It's, yeah.
This one?
Yeah. A lumberjill!
What? Whoa, it is! You're right, dude.
God, that's
a female lumberjack is called a lumberjill. I feel like this
Couldn't
is
they
not
just
true.
all be lumberjacks?
I get.
Where is that from? That's from...
Well, it's kind of like the actor-actress thing. It's like, aren't they all actors?
It's
like,
from Facebook, so I don't know.
If I saw like a female lumberjack and she like said, "Oh yeah," I'm like, "Well, what do you do for a profession?"
I'm a lumberjill.
Like, yeah, if she said that in that voice and was like a gigantic muscular, like
Masculine?
yeah, like muscular, gigantic, masculine, muscular, like woman. And I would just be like terrified. Like I wouldn't want. I'd be like, oh, no, like. And then they were just like, I'm a lumberjill, and I'd just like chuckle at them, and then they'd beat me up, and I'd be really scared, and I'd be on the ground bleeding.
Pee your pants.
Yeah, I'd pee my pants.
I'm
and
scared.
Then like Jacob would have to drag me to the bathroom and clean me up, and I'd be like, I'm sorry you have to do this, but like my self-esteem is so low right now that I can't stand. I can't stand.
I don't know that I would clean you up.
You wouldn't clean me up if I was in need.
I would maybe get like a wad of paper towels and throw it on your chest while you're laying on the ground.
Dude, that's like almost an insult. Like, if you were like in the situation where you just peed yourself and you couldn't get up because of your insecurities, if you were in that situation, I feel like most people, there'd probably be a few people that'd be like chuckling about it, but there'd be like that group of people that's like, oh, we gotta help them out, like, and they'd like carry you off to the bathroom and just like clean off your wiener and your pants.
Actually, I think I pooed a little bit too. Can you clean my bum for me?
Then like this big and then Ralph like goes up, like our dad from earlier in the story goes up and he's like, I do this all the time with my children. I've got you, brother. And Ralph like cleans up your ass while somebody's like throwing your pants in a laundromat that's conveniently next door. Wow. Yeah. Anyway,
you really paint the whole picture there, don't you?
I really do paint the picture. This is what it's like to be in that situation.
The mind of a madman.
We're answering life's greatest questions. Some people have questions about this. It's like, what if I was in that situation? It's like, I got to tell them. I got to answer the questions. It's what we do.
Yeah.
We go boom.
How did I know that was coming? I was waiting for it.
Yeah, we take the rock and we just go boom.
And just a quick little bump.
Yep. And if those of you who don't know about the bump, you're gonna need to go watch the Unraveled 2 Let's Play that we have just conveniently put up for your viewing pleasure on the YouTube channel. People also search for.
Yeah. Fucking check it out.
Yeah,
slap
check it out.
like, hit that subscribe button if you're nasty.
Yeah, but right now we're gonna get back into lumberjacks because we got to know about these wonderful people that are bringing us lumber for our houses and our nightstands.
So originally you clicked on the ones that say, do lumberjacks still exist?
Yeah.
I don't think you ever even gave the answer to that life question.
Although the basic tasks of harvesting trees is still the same, the machinery and tasks are no longer the same. Many of the old job specialties on logging crews are now obsolete. So it seems that lumberjacks are obsolete.
No, I think they're just saying that a lot of the machines help them do some of the dangerous work.
Probably,
they don't
yeah.
have to do it by hand anymore.
There's probably there's fewer chainsaw guys, and they're probably like up in the tree cutting the branches off. But there's probably like a giant like machine like that grabs the trees from the ground and like slices them up.
I've seen there's like robot things that also like debark the tree, which looks really badass.
Yeah, and those are conveniently called lumber robs.
Lumber robs.
Yeah, it's like a lumberjack robot. But I don't know if that exists. Okay, wait, we gotta talk about what lumberjacks are. Dude, there's lumberjack folklore, but I can't get sidetracked. Lumberjacks are.
There's also lumberjack lifestyle is like the next category.
Dang, well, you got to know how to survive as a lumberjack, and we'll find that out. But lumberjacks are mostly North American workers in the logging industry who perform the initial harvesting and transport of trees for ultimate processing into forest products. The term usually refers to a bygone era before 1945 in the United States, when hand tools were used in harvesting trees. Because of its historical ties, the term lumberjack has become ingrained in popular culture through folklore. Oh, God, the lumberjack we might know about could be fake. Is Paul Bunyan not real?
I don't think he is.
Crap! Mass media, spectators, sports. The actual work was difficult, dangerous, intermittent, low-paying, and primitive in living conditions. However, the men built a traditional culture that celebrated strength, masculinity, confrontation with danger, and resistance to modernization.
Took our jabs!
Yeah, dude, do you see this tree over here? It's got a giant sad face. He looks like Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, or like you would go.
That's from 1900. Wow.
Imagine the lumberjack that made the trees in Nightmare Before Christmas, like that, like transported to another world. Like those are like lumber gods, dude. Those are like lumber scientists, lumberists. Those are lumberists. They made they transported people to a whole nother world.
That's true.
Through the power of lumber. They're heroes. All right, anyway, I want to know about lumberjack lifestyle,
Lumberjack lifestyle.
Yeah.
Lumberjacks worked in lumber camps and often lived a migratory life, following timber harvesting jobs as they opened. Being a lumberjack was seasonal work. Lumberjacks were exclusively men. They usually lived in bunkhouses or tents.
Bunkhouses?
Common equipment included the axe and cross-cut saw. Lumberjacks could be found wherever there were vast forests to be harvested and a demand for wood, most likely in Scandinavia, Canada, and parts of the United States. In the U.S., many lumberjacks were of Scandinavian ancestry, continuing the family tradition. American lumberjacks were first centered in northeastern states such as Maine. They then followed the general westward migration on the continent to the upper Midwest and finally the Pacific Northwest. Stuart Holbrook documented the emergence and westward migration of the classic lumberjack in his first book, Holy Old Mackinaw, A National History of the American Lumberjack. He often wrote colorfully about lumberjacks in his subsequent books, romanticizing them as hard-drinking, hard-working men. Logging camps were slowly phased out between World War II and the early 1960s, as crews could by then be transported to remote logging sites in motor vehicles.
Doesn't sound like a lifestyle I'd want to live.
No, yeah, I'm good on that.
I always thought it was like you get up, you go over to the pancake cabin, you get yourself a big old stack.
A stack of flapjacks.
You got like a checkered shirt, or no, like a plaid shirt on, and you like your chest is bursting out of the collar.
Barrel-chested, burly man.
Yeah, with you got like all those curly hairs like peeking out.
illustration here on Wikipedia of a Canadian lumberjack. Looks, his shirt suspiciously looks like a picnic table cloth.
It does. But
tablecloth.
I was thinking more like plaid, though. Like, this looks like boxes. But I'm thinking, like pair of jeans, pair of overalls, white and red, picnic-like, collared,
Or like an Italian restaurant.
Or like your sleeves are ripped off kind of a shirt, plaid.
He just went to the pizzeria and fashioned himself a new shirt out of the tablecloth.
I knew it. I knew that. I was thinking, like, as soon as you said pizzeria, I was like, I have this vision in my mind of a man wearing a tablecloth with his like chopping down an old tree there in the parking lot.
What's a little stain on your shirt? Oh, it was a little bit of a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball. I had the pasta carbonara. Even though that's not spicy at all.
Meatball Sub.
Yeah, meatball. Yeah, that was my nickname in high school.
No way.
No, it wasn't. I feel like that's.
Oh my god.
I feel like that's such a children's
I feel
cartoon style.
Yeah.
Insult.
I was just thinking I feel like there might have been a character on fucking Rocket Power that was nicknamed Meatball Sub.
Yeah. It's like the kid and everybody's just like, Meatball Sub's coming over, and they don't want.
Whenever Meatball Sub was around, then the little blonde kid with the glasses that always fell down, Squid, I think his name was. Then he would have somebody to pick on.
Yeah.
When Meatball Sub was around.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, so Sam from Rocket Power is picking on like some kid like that nobody likes named Meatball Sub.
Yeah. He can't wait until Meatball Sub hangs out with them.
You ever think you and I should work for like Nickelodeon? I can just make show concepts like this daily.
Oh yeah, we could be in the writer's room or make pitches for different shows.
It's like the kids are gonna love it. They're gonna be starting to call kids Meatball Sub that they don't like in class all the time.
Unfortunately, we couldn't actually get into that unless we were in the Screenwriters Guild or whatever it's called.
You can always dream. You don't need to be in the Screenwriters Guild to write a to write a script.
Yeah, you do.
Do you really?
Yeah, you have to have an agent and shit and have be actually a part of the union. And then there's different agencies that you can go through to be a writer.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't just you can't just make a personal cartoon project and send it to Adult Swim or Nickelodeon.
Really?
No,
I always thought that you could make meetings and go pitch stuff.
Nah, you would your writing would be rejected if you did that.
Yeah, they're like, hey, if you want to be in this industry, you're gonna have to put a little capital in first. You're gonna have to pay the agents to go talk to somebody for you. It's like if you're not willing to do that, your script's not worth looking at.
Yeah, same thing with voice acting too. Though you have to be part of the Screen Actors Guild or whatever,
or probably YouTube famous or something. They might contact you and be like, hey.
I mean, if you worked on an independent project. Obviously, you can just be whoever, you could just be a random voice talent.
That's true.
You could probably do voiceover shit for Fiverr stuff too, where you just send it into them.
Oh man,
Logger Sports.
No,
I just noticed on the what?
Logger Sports, but even above that, dude, the evolution of lumberjacks.
Oh, my lumberjack just evolved into a level 64
modern logger.
Modern logger, I choose you.
Yeah, and I bet before I even say anything, I bet the difference between the older and the newer lumberjacks is that the newer lumberjacks more operate machinery, whereas the old ones actually went and cut down trees. So the tie hacking is the original lumberjack form. And a specialty form of logging involving the felling of trees, and we already know a little bit about that. These lumberjacks, called tie hacks, use saws to fell trees and cut them to length. Ooh, a broad axe. They used a broad axe to flatten 2 or 4 sides of the log to create railroad ties. Oh, okay. Oh, so when the lumberjacks were actually making railroad tracks from scratch and stuff.
Wow.
That's crazy. That was a job back in the day. 1910. Over here in this picture. That's crazy.
That's a painting.
over here on this painting. They didn't have cameras back in 1910. That's not true.
No, yeah, they did.
Yeah, they definitely did. Okay, then there's like the modern loggers, and it just says modern technology changed the job to modern loggers considerably. Although the basic task of harvesting trees is still the same, the machinery and tasks are no longer the same. Many of the old specialties on logging crews are now obsolete. Chainsaws, harvesters, and feller bunchers are now used to cut or fell trees. The tree is turned, so it's mostly like not handwork, like besides the chainsaw part. The tree is turned into logs by removing the limbs, delimbing, and cutting it into logs at the optimal length. And then the felled trees or logs are moved from the slump to the landing. Okay, so that's basically like they cut down the trees with machinery. That's what they do.
Oh yeah.
So, but back in the day, there were like a lot of athletics involved with lumberjacks, like spinning a log under your feet while it's floating down the river. Right, Jacob?
I guess.
I think that's the only one that I've seen depicted in cartoons, and that's where I learn all of my information. So,
yeah.
Like, literally all of it. If it wasn't on SpongeBob, I don't know it. That's why I don't know long division. They didn't do it on SpongeBob.
I like how they...
I do know.
Sure.
I think I could do some long division still. I think it would take me a minute to remember it, because, like, why would you do that now? It's like, I got a calculator.
I like how in this article they even touch on a lumbersexual or urban lumberjack as a man who has adopted style traits typical of traditional lumberjack, namely a beard, plaid shirt, and or scruffy hair, substituting otherwise clean-cut and fashionable style choices.
Lumberjacks are pretty fashionable. I mean, if you walk around dressed like a lumberjack, there's going to be some people that are like, that guy knows what's up. Lumberjack just came to the party.
He probably never cut down a tree, but he sure looks cool.
Yeah, no. If you dress like a lumberjack, you've definitely cut down a tree, dude. I want to really quick go off the side and just... I need to know what this log rolling sport that I've been talking about is. Spinning a log under your feet in the river sport.
That's such a long string of words.
Yeah, I didn't know how else to search for it.
Spinning a log under your feet in the river sport.
Yeah, like what else? A history of American work sport. I feel like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find this. Like, what is this sport?
I mean, there's like an excerpt under that thing, that link that you clicked that said 2 men leap on a floating log and spin it with their feet to see who can ride it longer.
Yeah. Okay. Where's that? Oh, right.
The one that you originally clicked on, but it's just...
it says... Well, this one says Ride 'em Lumberjack, and it's a book. No, this... Oh, okay. This is...
It's a book preview.
It's a book preview? Are we allowed to read this?
Yep.
Oh, man. Okay.
I do see it says spinning right there. Spinning timber.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's highlighted because we searched for it. Okay. Jacks were so the birth of a sport. Jacks were so playful on moving logs that they initialized a sport which showcased their water logging skills, birling. John Nelligan reports that when a drive came to an end, rivermen would indulge in a bit of a sport on the logs. Two or sometimes more would jump on a log together and roll and snub it furiously to see who could stay on the longest. It's like a mechanical bull, except it's a log, kind of same thing, you know? Sometimes that was cowboys, not lumberjacks. Except that was cowboys, Jacob.
Yeah.
Sometimes they all took a ducking. I think that is supposed to have an F. Sometimes one proved himself better than his comrades by staying atop the spinning timber and forcing it into subjection. Force that timber into subjection, Mr. Lumberjack.
Wow, that's really interesting.
It is. Anyway, I just wanted to know what it was called.
Birling. It said 1901 Labor Day birling contest in Ashland, Wisconsin, watched by 3,000 spectators, made a marathon seem effortless by comparison.
Well, I I don't know what it's called, but I'm assuming
It
it's
says
just called...
birling.
It's called birling?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to confirm that.
Birling.
We don't want to give false information.
Burlington Coat Factory.
Birling. Birling.
Birling. B-I-R-L-I-N-G.
Oh, yes. Birling. Rotating a log rapidly in the water as a competitive sport. Log rolling, spin twist, twisting, whirl twist, or the act of rotation rapidly. He gave the crank a spin. It broke off after much twisting. Okay, so it is birling. Okay, cool. I'm satisfied. The lumberjack sport is birling, but I don't know.
Did you ever even like finish finding out how the log was made into a fucking wood?
I didn't. We're gonna need to figure that out.
Well, you had the how is plywood made website we were looking at earlier.
We'll look at that real quick, Jacob. But listen, I just saw the words Paul Bunyan and I got distracted. And I was like, I need to know, man.
I know.
We got
I know you need to know.
We got a folklore section. This is the lumberjack that I've known since I was a child.
You knew him?
I knew Paul
Bunyan. I thought
Bunyan.
he was fake.
No, but there was a giant Paul Bunyan statue at our local theme park.
What?
Yeah, there was a giant Paul Bunyan. Yeah, there was
What theme park would that be?
The Great Escape in Lake George, New York.
Oh, okay. That sounds pretty niche. I had never heard of that.
I believe that Six Flags bought it, and it's at Six Flags now, but I remember they used to have, like, in their water park, you know, they have the big bucket. It's always, like, the bucket that fills up with water, and it pours over the giant...
Yeah.
Yeah, like the giant, like, I guess, playground of water.
Yeah.
And it falls upon all the children and hits them really hard and knocks it down. Knocks them down. It really hurts, dude. But anyway, yeah, there's like a giant fiberglass Paul Bunyan in the entrance to that place, and like he had like his axe. It was like that. Look, see that picture?
Oh.
It's like giant Paul Bunyan. I bet it's not that Paul Bunyan couldn't have been the only giant Paul Bunyan.
I'm sure there's plenty.
Probably. Anyway, the most famous. Do you want to read this?
Sure. The most famous depiction of a lumberjack in folklore is Paul Bunyan. Folklore. Several towns claim to have been Paul Bunyan's home and have constructed statues of Bunyan and his blue ox Babe. Yep. Known for their many exploits, many real-life loggers have been renowned for their extraordinary strength, intuition, and knowledge of the woods. Men such as Jigger Johnson, the Maine woodsman, who supposedly kicked knots off frozen logs barefooted, and Joseph Montferrand, better known as Big Joe Mufferaw, the French-Canadian known for his physical prowess and desire to protect the French-speaking logger, have been celebrated as folk heroes throughout North America and have contributed to myths of the lumberjack.
But to answer the question from the beginning of the show.
Yeah, the reason why you wanted this to be the topic.
Yeah, I just wanted to know how they make the freaking wood, and I didn't.
Maybe we should just find a video and pause, and
yeah, we'll pause and we'll find a video, and then we're gonna explain to you exactly how wood is made.
And we learned something that I believe neither one of us knew.
I can't believe it's done this way. So let's just do a quick recap step by step. The first thing they do is they take a giant crane arm, like those claw machines you'd see in a Japanese arcade to win stuffed animals, and they take that and they fish these giant logs that have been soaking in water for, I think it was like, what did it say, 40-something hours? I don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
But many hours they've been soaking these giant logs. They pick it up, put it on a conveyor belt, and then they spin around really fast on...
like a giant lathe, essentially.
Yeah, a giant
it's
lathe,
like
but it's like a conveyor belt where they go through like these spinning saws that chop all the bark off.
Yeah, that part,
Yeah. There's like giant cylindrical saws that chop off the bark of the tree.
Yeah, it's like the whole log is surrounded by like different like wheels of teeth that like shave off the entire bark from a log in like, it said like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like 8-foot length, so that the wood is already, ready to come in standard 8-foot sizes.
Yeah. And then, okay, so after the bark is all removed, they take them and they get them on this gigantic lathe. and they spin them until the wood, and this is a very satisfying thing to watch, the wood is a perfect cylinder, so the edges is perfectly smooth. And then next up is the part that nobody expected.
I did not think about how they made it into sheets.
No, I didn't think about how. That's why I wanted to know, is because I didn't understand the sheet process. Because I was like, all the grain looks like perfect. Like there's no breaks. Like they didn't just glue this together.
Because when we watched how timber is manufactured, it was like what we were thinking, where it's like sections of the whole like inside of the log.
Yeah, sections. Yeah,
like the lengths are cut out of it. As much, there's waste because of how it's rounded,
and that's kind of like that looked like how it was like 2x4s were made, but they didn't have any like long like 4x8 pieces coming off of that. And I was like, do they have to have like a minimum 4x8 tree piece to cut? And
but the answer is no. The answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no.
It's just an 8-foot long log, and then they put essentially, if you think about it as like using a wood lathe and like turning a piece of wood, and you have like the chisel where it creates wood shavings. So essentially plywood sheets are made out of giant wood shavings, and the whole thing is like since it's like turning on a lathe style machine, it's one like
continuous length.
Yeah, it's one continuous sheet. And then they cut them up in like 4-foot wide veneers, and then all the veneers get glue on them, and they get like pressed and like put in a kiln.
Have you ever seen a baseball get unraveled?
Yeah.
That's like what they're doing to the trees with this lathe. It's insane. It's just like spitting out sheets of wood. Like it's like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a oak? Like you just gotta watch it. They're shaving this tree into this continuous strip of giant like sheet. It's like you feel like it's like a blanket, and since it's wet, it doesn't bend up on them. So it's just like
it does bend up.
It bends a little
like
bit.
It's flexible when it's moist, and then after it's all glued together, then they like heat it in the kiln.
Yeah.
Or as the woman on How It's Made pronounced it, the kiln.
Yeah.
Which
was
they're
killing
a little odd to me.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. Maybe she was from somewhere where they call it that, but
maybe
in Ohio we call it the kiln.
That's how I always heard.
Industry.
Yeah, that's how I've always heard it pronounced.
Yeah, same here. That's how it's done. They glue them together, and then they're off to the old Home Depot.
It was pretty interesting. I wasn't expecting to see a tree essentially being shaved into a giant continuous piece of wood veneer.
No, definitely not. And
and like we read earlier, how it was saying a lot of like hand labor, like hand done labor in the logging industry is now obsolete. It's because really like the only hand labor is like where they're felling the trees at the beginning of the process, and even then they have a lot of machines that help them cut down the trees. So there's not too much like old school lumberjack like culture like we read about earlier.
True. Man, we really did it though. We went back in time. We learned about the original lumberjacks and the felling of the trees and how that's improved over time, and then we came into the old port with how the wood pieces actually get made today, with basically mostly machinery and people carrying around wood to different locations in a factory. That's mostly what it is. And it's been nice out lately. You know what else is made of wood? Skateboards, just like we were talking about earlier. So just get outside, do an activity, maybe pick up a skateboard and go to your local skate park and have a cop come up and do some things to you. But
do something.
Yeah, you just want to remain calm. Police aren't bad people sometimes.
Yeah. Well, way to tie it all the way back around with skateboarding and
complete circle.
Yep,
we don't get those every time.
No. No.
It's really hard, actually.
It really is. You know what else is hard?
Yep.
Wood.
Nice, dude. That was like a little circle on the end of the big circle.
Yeah, a period, if you will.
Yeah, a period on the circle of this podcast. But until next time.
Say light.